Mic check 1 2 1 2. Name the rapper. Come on.
What?
It's a big song. Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, I feel like that's just been said so many times you forget.
The song is literally called Mic Check.
I don't
Joel
know.
Santana.
You're the rap guy.
Hey.
This quarantine is starting to get to me. I had a dream the other night that I went to a Blockbuster to rent Home Alone. Now, that could just be like a metaphor of me being home alone all the time. Or it could just be that I'm craving social interaction so much that, but I forget what it's like, that my first thought is to go to a Blockbuster that hasn't been around in decades.
Well, that could symbolize the crumbling economy, the businesses that are being shut down.
I don't think I'm that deep, though.
Let's dig deeper, though.
Oh, the best part, too, Teddy was the cashier.
Of course he was.
What do you think that means?
He was probably like AJ from The Sopranos, right?
I want to say,
what does that represent? It probably represents your irresponsibility with money. Probably got you to pay like $60 for Kill Bill.
I was Home Alone, but I get your point.
Well, Kill Bill, Home Alone, similar premise, right?
Yeah, if Kevin McAllister was like a super samurai.
Live from Long Island, New York, it's time for the Nerd Soup Podcast. Starring Anthony J.Q. Nash,
I don't know what's going on.
Teddy,
I just called Chief and this is it.
Lorenzo Stu Warren,
I did sleep on,
Yeah.
sleep on this movie, literally, and
Marissa,
Go Spider-Man.
Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey,
Wish my dreams came true.
and your host, Bo Oliver Blue.
She had the cake too. I was like, what? Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Soup Podcast. Quarantine's also weighing heavy on me, as you could tell by my performance in that cold opening. I'm over here dying, but I am back. Bo Oliver, joined today by Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, learning that it is hard to carry a podcast with only two people. Teddy he's just such a great, he's the rubber, you know? You bounce off of him. You're stumbling, you don't know what to say. Teddy was going to butt in with some complaint, some one-liner. I just miss him. It's going to be weird when he gets back here.
That's
know?
probably why Teddy was in my dream. I just miss Teddy.
Right, yeah. Oh, we're fucking stupid. Look at us. We're losing it without Ted. And you can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, all the places where you can get podcasts. And I forgot to mention that we talk about movies, TV, video games, the world of pop culture, really everything. And we've actually got a lot of stories compared to previous weeks on today's podcast.
Before we start.
You all right out there? Would you tear your bicep?
No, I do my stretches while I podcast.
That's not an athletic stretch. You
don't. My body just.
You're interpretive dancing over there.
Yeah, my body works
You're
in weird
pop
ways.
locking and.
I prepared a statement, if you'll allow me.
Oh God.
Because we are recording this before the NFL draft, and I prepared a statement for the New York Jets.
All right, where's the piece of paper?
It's on my phone.
Oh.
It's 2020. Come on.
I wish you would have ruffled out a piece of paper from your chest pocket.
I should have. You know what?
You should have wore a shirt with a chest pocket to begin with.
Yeah. What am I? Is there a dress code now? Let me
It
get
is.
to the statement. Dear the New York Jets, how dare you? You incompetent assholes. I know we needed a wide receiver, but this is also a very wide receiver deep draft. We need to protect Sam Darnold, and how can you pass on Jedrick Willis and or Andrew Thomas at 11? I want to reiterate that I hate you, and thank you for ruining my life yet again. Love, Aaron.
Now, can you send me that letter in 2 months when the Knicks draft? So I can just change name, position.
Well, it's actually like I tweeted before that the last 2 years we had Avengers movies, so I skipped on the first round.
You've been spared of the pain.
Not Sam Darnold. That was a very high moment in my life, comparable to the LeBron Game 7 against the Warriors.
Getting Sam Darnold.
And the Battle of the Bastards. Seeing Infinity War, then after the movie, checking my phone right after to see we got Sam Darnold, that was...
Yeah, but quarterbacks, they're so risky. You never know if they're going to pan
I know,
out.
but that hope... Like, I don't know.
How can you have hope at this point? Seriously.
I'm just saying, and I'm
impressed.
I think Sam is going to be good, but if he doesn't, but that hope I had in that moment is something that I'll never forget.
I want your on the record. In 20 years, who's the better quarterback looking back? Sam Darnold or Ben Roethlisberger?
I'm saying that Sam has to get 2 Super Bowls.
I think that's a good bench, though. If you can get a Ben Roethlisberger,
It's 2 Super Bowls. Why wouldn't you? I would take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. But I'm saying, you think he's going to be that good? Is he going to be good enough to lead a team like Big Ben, like a Big Ben?
The numbers he put up, the Super Bowls, that's tough. I'm happy with 1. I'll say no, but I'm hopeful. You got to see. If he doesn't take a step in this year, then I don't know.
going to be hard to eclipse Chad Pennington, but Big Ben.
Chad, talk about completion percentages.
That boy was efficient. Let's move on to the first topic here. We actually have news about the show that we've been reviewing, even though we swore that we would not review it. But hey, quarantine, things are shut down. Westworld is being renewed for season 4, and there are plans in place to go 6 seasons. Now, the showrunners, Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan, had already stated that they kind of mapped out where the show was going to end back in season 1. And that's always encouraging, especially in these days when so many things are being done and kind of thrown together on the fly. It's nice to have a plan with the show that's this complex and this big. 6 seasons is surprising, though. I would think maybe 4 or 5, but I'm encouraged by 6 because 3 has been really good.
Well, first of all, renewed for a 4th season. I'm excited about that. The 6 seasons, though, that's interesting because if you would have told me before this news came out, how many seasons would you like to or would you expect Westworld to go, I would say 4. Just seeing where the story's going, and I would have imagined that Westworld is going to, unless something drastic happens, and which probably will, but the show Westworld will mostly take place when you look back at it out of Westworld.
Right. No, yeah, I like that. I like that the title is still Westworld, but it has moved on from the parks.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I mean,
at the end of every season, it always feels like this story is kind of over, that there's nowhere else that they can really go, and then they surprise us by coming back and expanding on the themes and the storylines. So that's, with them already having mapped out the ending, that's why the 6 seasons to me it's not that it makes sense because I haven't seen it play out, but it is encouraging. They're saying that this is what we need. We already know.
And without getting into spoilers, because people might not be up to season 3 or even started the show, but would you suspect, I don't think this is a spoiler, but it is Sarek is the villain, if you've seen the trailers of this season.
He is the antagonist.
Do you think that could be a overarching for multiple seasons, that it adds that question, or is someone else going to take that spot in later seasons? So it is interesting to think about when you kind of put that in perspective. But
yeah, well, no, with season 4, he doesn't necessarily have to be removed as quickly.
I always
he
like
could
when
go
shows
into
do
a
that.
season 4.
Like with Dexter, they always had one villain for the season, and it's fine in a vacuum. But obviously looking at it now, the show ended terribly. But I kind of would have liked a overarching villain for multiple seasons. So,
yeah,
and Game of Thrones done that with a multitude of villains, and just the overall question wasn't is the good guy going to beat the villain, it was who's going to win. So there was always intrigue.
Right. With season 2, I think maybe season 2 was hurt because there isn't a clear antagonist, where in season 1 they kind of play with that role with Ford, where it's very much his story, and with obviously you have all the supporting characters that are great, but he's kind of holding it together. Season 2, it's way more chaotic. Sarah kind of fills a necessary gap that they needed in the real world. And like we said, they play with antagonists, protagonists all the time. So the writing, I think they're just going to base it on not the antagonist of the season, but if it makes sense that Sarek should stick around, they'll keep him.
Yeah.
And I love the actor.
Yeah, he's tremendous. And but what I was saying, like you just said, that the line in this season is just so blurred between good guy and bad guy. So it is a little Game of Thrones-esque in that way.
I hope the role of a Sarek, the role of a Robert Ford, becomes almost like a torch that's passed down between legendary actor. I mean, Vincent Castle's not a legend, but he's very good, and he has filled the shoes of Anthony Hopkins better than most could have. I hope it goes down to if they bring in Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston's some fucking tech genius and a very specific...
They already have Aaron Paul.
Right, yeah. They have Aaron Paul.
And the Say My Name guy.
Well, the writing for Dr. Ford, that's why I love the role so much for Hopkins, because he's done so many poor movies in the past. The writing was just so good, so I felt like there were so many great actors that could have played that character. Maybe not as well as Hopkins because he's so world class, but as a great actor, that's a role that you want. Sometimes, I mean, look at Hopkins; he doesn't always get them.
I'm pumped. This is supposed to be a movie coming out this year, or I think it aired at some film festival with Anthony Hopkins. Don't remember the name. I mean, Two Hopes. He had
Two Popes. Yeah.
Two Popes.
He actually really surprised me in the Two Popes, because I thought this was just going to be Hopkins as the Pope, but he was very good as Pope Benedict.
Well, he's a tremendous person to bounce off another great actor. You've seen it with Jodie Foster, but even in Westworld alone with Jeffrey Wright, Evan Rachel Wood, Tandy Newton. And even, Ed Harris, and those couple scenes they were in were amazing. Hold on, I got the film here. The Father. It's with Olivia Colman is in it. So Rufus Sewell from the Nazis, Man in High Castle, isn't it?
Okay.
Uh,
I had a different answer. The father.
yeah.
A patriarch going mad, maybe, or something like that. A dying patriarch, and they're grappling with his legacy. Sounds like something like that. Olivia Colman as the daughter.
Oh.
Them sharing scenes together already. I'm like, yeah, that sounds Oscar worthy.
I rewatched The Favorite the other night. I fucking love that movie. She is so great in that movie.
It's amazing because she kind of towers over Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz, and they're both so incredible. That might be the two best performances of their careers, and then it's just Olivia Colman blows them out of the water.
Yeah.
You know what? I was thinking about that movie the other day because I would love to see Denis Villeneuve take on a story like that where it's a
Victorian
comedy.
type.
Yeah. Well, not even Victorian, but like when Kubrick did comedy, it was something like Strangelove, where Strangelove is actually very laugh-out-loud funny, but even Barry Lyndon, his more serious comedy, I would love for Villeneuve to kind of take on a movie like that because he's getting a lot of criticism now they're calling him the dud filmmaker.
Who's they?
I've seen a couple of articles. I read one the other day that just decided to take everyone down with him. I'm not stopping at Villeneuve. He was included Scorsese and Tarantino and Thomas Anderson and Wes Anderson. And
I kind of respect it. If you're going to go after one, you might as well just
at that point,
just ruin your whole...
just take down
Yeah.
the whole ship.
Yeah.
But the whole point was that don't criticize these overly serious movies or else their fans will come for you in a very mean-spirited way.
I usually...
Sounds like someone who didn't get Blade Runner 2049. Just kidding.
No, I usually side of that sentiment. Like, just because someone doesn't like something or somebody, that you shouldn't hate them for their opinion. But I kind of hate this guy.
Just hearing it. I haven't read the article. Don't know
No.
who he is.
He might have made some very salient points in this article and might change my perspective. But
Well, that's why when I saw the headline, I'm like, I'm not going to dismiss this. I'll at least give it a nice little read. And, some points that I could agree with, definitely. But people always kind of interject their own, I don't want to say the P word, where I understand the point that you're trying to make, but you don't have to make it this way. There are better ways to kind of make it.
yeah, I
But
agree. But
Whatever. Westworld coming back. How the hell did we get on Villeneuve?
let's
impressive.
All right, every topic this podcast, let's try to get to Villeneuve.
Work it back, yeah. I think we could do that.
Oh, easily. I'm already mapping out scenarios in my head.
Well, this second story also has to do with the movies. It's Warner Brothers apparently is moving Scoob, their Scooby-Doo computer animated movie, to their streaming service. It's going to come out on HBO Max. This is confirmed, right?
No, it's going to go right to video on demand.
Oh,
It's $1
wow.
rental. Yeah.
Soon.
And then it'll make the step to
Right.
HBO Max.
Now, there was another report about Warner Brothers is completely reconsidering their business model when it comes to releasing movies in theaters. Eventually, they might want to put everything out on streaming.
I wonder what the numbers are. Have they released, and does that... It can't be considered box office, can it? For the...
Video on demand?
For like Trolls World Tour.
Right.
They want video on demand.
I think sometimes... I don't know if they've released those numbers, but sometimes they are released.
Yeah, they might follow the Disney Plus model where they did Onward. Even though Onward did have a short theatrical run, they just weren't to...
You want to know if it just makes sense
Yeah.
financially
Because
to
maybe
do
Disney...
this forever.
Because I think Disney, they did video on demand of Onward, but right away they wanted Disney Plus right after.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was just immediate feedback where no one's going to buy this, let's just put it here, or how they came to that conclusion. But it's interesting with a lot of studios now having their own streaming services. Disney, obviously, HBO Max for Warner Brothers. Universal is going to have Peacock with NBC.
Yep.
So they have... There's no middleman, I guess. They can just release it to their own platform, something people are already paying for. I don't know. It makes sense, I guess, for films that aren't projected to make a ton of money, but I think Scoob could have made a few bucks.
Well, I think this might be one of the worst things to come out of the pandemic, is that if theaters... Scoob. Out of all the horror stories that we're hearing from across the world, Scoob is the worst, because now I can't see it in theaters. No, but this might transform and might completely change the way that we watch movies forever. This might be... I mean, we've thought that it was inevitable that eventually movie theaters were going to die, or they weren't going to be as popular. We see the numbers that they're reporting now. They're losing money every year. So now this almost feels like it's going to speed out the process. And we're seeing this in other things, too. People are saying, hey, why are we going to school anymore? We can just do it all online. According to some people, other people are having a bit more trouble with it, depending on what you're teaching. Warner Brothers, we've seen it with Fox. Fox got out of the movie business entirely. They said, here, Disney, you take all this shit. We see the writing on the wall. We'll just focus on Sean Hannity.
I mean, I'm always a proponent of going to the theaters, but I mean, the reality is that most people don't share that sentiment or have that connection to seeing even a film like, I don't know, what's a random movie I saw? Like Greta. I don't know why that came to my mind, but I went to the theater to see Greta, and no one's going to do that. Like movies like that have no really name.
Colette.
That was
That's another.
That was a fantastic film, though.
Yeah.
More people should have seen that. But I'm just saying that I think if that movie came out on Netflix, more people are going to see it, and no one's going out of their way to see movies that no one's talking about or are relatively unknown and are just average. They're not going to go to the theaters to see those movies, where we might, but I don't know.
As someone who's been accused of hating humanity, it is very encouraging to me. It makes me feel very optimistic for the fate of our race. Well-written TV shows that are complex, that deal with complex issues, that have complex characters, people flock to them. People love them. Game of Thrones. Somebody made the point that Game of Thrones was the most popular, well-written thing ever. With movies, because you have the obstacle of getting in a car and driving 10 to 15 minutes, spending maybe $20, $30, sitting there for 2 hours and having to drive back home, it's not because they don't want to go see Little Women or Colette. You don't think people would like Upgrade if you put it on Netflix? If that was a TV series, Upgrade was awesome. But it's that obstacle. It's that bridge. I'm only going over that bridge if you're giving me every single Avenger. That's Saul Hill. You know, not me, but that's my friend Saul Hill. It's the Saul Hill test. What movie does Saul Hill go to see in theaters? Avengers, maybe Star Wars. So that's how it is for a lot of the casual fans. They're only going 3-4 times a year. Look at Teddy.
But he's the rubber, so.
Yeah, he is the rubber. He catches them a couple months later.
I don't know. I think that...
You know what's funny, though? The guys at Red Letter Media, they want this to happen. I remember when I really used to watch their videos a couple of years ago, they were like, bring it on. When are people going to realize that they could just get the OLED TV, spend $4,000 on it, save your money?
It is weird because it's kind of like how do I describe this? It's the movies, the big blockbusters, the Star Wars, the Avengers, that you kind of need that theater experience to. It adds a lot to it. But when that's like 5% of movies that come out, how are you going to, I guess it just doesn't make sense.
No, it's not a great business model.
No.
And people always said that the big movies were going to continue. It's just going to become exclusively blockbusters in the movie theaters. That's what you go to the movie theaters to watch.
I don't know. I hate it.
In 20 years, another 20 years, there's still movie theaters.
I'll be...
2040.
I'll be nearing 50. Oh, no. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, you'll be 3 years from 50, dog.
I don't know. It's hard to say. Probably not. You already see AMC's going bankrupt.
Yeah, AMC. I'll say 50 years. I think in 20 years there's still going to be some form of a movie theater. And I think they have to adapt. That's the thing that we're not accounting for. I think they're so behind the curve. Let's see if they can catch up. We've seen it with ordering food during a film and the reclining seats.
Prices have to go down,
yeah,
first of all.
Prices have to go down.
For
production of movies.
$15 a ticket, that's $60 for a family of 4, plus another $15 each for soda and popcorn. It's a lot of money.
What's going to be ironic is that they're going to make these movies, release them for streaming. They're not going to make as much, and then they're going to have to cut costs of production, and they're going to start with actors' salaries because you still want the movies to look good, so that's where you begin. And that's ironic because if you would have just done that to begin with, maybe more people would go to the movies because you can cut prices of your tickets if production costs are lower. That's what's going to end up happening. We're going to get a worse product, and we're also going to lose the movie theater experience.
When this ends, people are going to be so enthusiastic to go back to the theater because they haven't been able to go for so long. So there's going to be this massive influx of...
There's going to be a massive influx
of people going to the theaters.
People buying their popcorns, the bunch of crunches.
I thought that was a Trump verse and it went to Bernie.
It did go to Bernie, yeah. They both need to clear their sinuses.
And the worldwide public will regain their love for cinema, thus saving the movie industry. You're thinking about it, right?
I'm thinking about how I can make a joke about China saving the movie industry because that's the big box office now.
Mhm.
That's what studios they're focusing on. They're focusing on the Chinese dollar, and they only allow so many films. So they're constantly censoring. I mean, Deadpool almost made 800 million. If they had the China release, maybe they get to 900, closer to $1 billion.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's become very complex because it's people aren't going, but people are now going in China, but you can only release so many in China. It's weird.
Well, I think a big
Nobody's going now, so
I think a big indication would be Denis Villeneuve's Dune, set to release later this year.
right, because something like no. Okay, you're making a joke.
No, it's a point while keeping my promise to tie everything to Villeneuve.
Yeah. Oh, well, right. Okay, I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's all unite and come out to see Dune.
Yes.
Because he deserves it. But see, if I always thought Dune, when I read Dune, I was like, this needs to be an HBO show. This isn't a movie. And he's cutting it in 2 movies, so I'm like, that's better. That's going to help it translate better to the big screen. I think more people would be obsessed with a show like Dune, more willing to experience Dune if it was a television series.
And I think television showrunners have more freedom to do and express their vision than filmmakers under studio's direction. So,
Yeah, good point.
speaking of Warner Brothers, this your whole thing about them trying to change their business model. Maybe this has something to do with not renewing or winning the bid for the Lego movies.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had no idea until you told me about this.
Yeah, Universal. It's on a 5-year deal at Universal.
5-year deal. Wow.
Yeah.
Option for a 6th? No trade clause?
It's a team option.
Lego's going to demand a trade to Disney. You know it. Disney's already working it. Disney's like the Heat, and Iger's Pat Riley. He's always got his tentacles and everything. No, that's interesting. I mean, the Lego movies have been, financially, they haven't been as successful as I think they should have been, especially Lego Batman. Lego Batman, I don't know, did it make my top 10 that year? I think it did. That movie was fucking hilarious. That was one of the best kind of slapstick comedies that I've seen in a long time. Reminded me of like classic Nickelodeon, classic Cartoon Network. And even the first one. The first one was amazing. And Lego Batman was great in that one too. Haven't seen the second one yet. But I don't know. Universal kind of, they need more tentpole franchises.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have the Fast franchise and
Jurassic Worlds.
Jurassic World. Okay.
The Minions.
The Minions.
Mhm.
Where's Minions 2? Minions 1 made a billion.
Do you really want Minions too?
I don't, but you would think they would, right?
Well, that's the thing with.
You think it was like, we made a lot of money, but this was so embarrassing we can't do it again. This is only going to work once. We can't release Minions 2 and make 200 million. That would be embarrassing.
I was trying to make a Minions noise, but in my brain, I was going to do Waka Waka.
Waka Waka.
That's not a Minion. Well, the first thing that came to my mind was.
I just want to, real quick, a joke from the first Minions trailer that I loved when Sandra Bullock's character is like, she's showing them the Queen of England. She's like, do you know who this is? And one of the Minions goes, La Cucaracha? Just amazing.
That's funny.
Yeah. I was the only one laughing in the theater.
But the first thing my mind went to was, like you said, Lego Batman. They were able to do that because of Warner Brothers. They were able to have the Justice League and other Warner Brothers properties in their films because they were under the same studio.
Harry Potter
Yeah.
properties that they had in those movies, yeah.
Now with Universal, you're going to get, I guess.
Fast and Furious characters.
Oh, I
We're
wouldn't doubt
family.
it.
Are you kidding me? They're probably all expert builders. That's got to happen.
Yeah.
With Vin Diesel, the whole gang voicing them.
And you also, they can probably do a joke with Owen and.
Well, they already did that in the second one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, his character
Oh,
was
yeah,
a
he was.
raptor trainer.
Different, yeah.
Well, these studios are good. Like when Spielberg did Ready Player One, he was able to make, because he had all those connections.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, CEO of Warner Brothers, remember when we went to the same wedding? Let me use Batman in this movie. That's how simple it was for Spielberg. For other studios, yeah, more of the rights, it's a bit more complex. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it changes hands and the IPs change as well. So we'll see. Is a Lego 3, the Lego Movie 3, is that in the works? The third one?
I assume so. I don't know if it's going. Maybe they might reboot it.
Oh, if
Who
Ted
knows?
was here, I'd have him check the box office.
I think Lego Movie 2 disappointed at the box
It did,
office.
yeah, I think it did.
But it's
Critically,
still
it did well.
decent. I liked it. It wasn't as good as the first one, but I thought it was still good. And I think it still made a decent amount, but nothing like the first one. It wasn't that same, I guess. I don't know. The first one was just shocking. That was, first of all, it was good, and just how much money it made.
So would you want like someone like a Villeneuve to come in for the third one, kind of ground it more in reality?
I think we need a gritty Lego movie.
I think, yeah. See, that's where I would like him to step out of his comfort zone, make it a little slapsticky, but give me a bit more
I want it
philosophy
to reflect the modern times. Everything is awesome. No, everything's dark and depressing.
here. Everything is everything. Lauryn Hill. What's this Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell show? I guess we'll move on here. Enough news about the Lego movies. I had never heard of this. Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell, they're doing a show for Apple?
Apple TV.
Wow.
I was thinking about getting Apple TV the other day. I want to watch Mythic Quest because I'm such a big Always Sunny fan, and Rob McElhenney, that's his new show.
What is that?
Mythic Quest?
Yeah, what do they do?
You would like it.
It sounds interesting. I'm intrigued.
It's a show about they're a video game developers, and they have this game Mythic Quest, and I guess.
And it's a comedy?
Yeah, just follows.
Oh, are any of the Always Sunny actors in it?
I think the guy
he went solo.
I think the guy who plays cricket is in it.
Okay, I don't know cricket.
You got to know cricket.
I only know me, Bo Oliver, the cricket. But that sounds actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think
he seems like a cool dude. Like he's got he never really compromises his own vision. I mean, he's been doing Always Sunny for how many years?
14 seasons.
Yeah, so I always like artists like that, kind of like the South Park guys too. It's like, hey, we like doing this, you know?
Yeah.
We're passionate about it.
No, he's great, and I think in like one of his interviews, I heard he talked about going to like actual game developers and just finding that whole world was so fascinating.
Yeah,
just the characters within, like the people who are making these characters are just as big of characters, and he thought that's a great idea for a TV comedy. So, Apple TV, Will Ferrell, Paul Rudd. I think first time since Anchorman 2, they're teaming up.
Do you know any premise about the show?
It's a limited.
Any details?
It's a limited series. It's a dark comedy about a shrink's relationship with his patient, and the shrink is Paul Rudd, I think.
Thank you.
And Will Ferrell is the patient.
I like that. I like Paul Rudd as a shrink. He is so good, man. He's such a good.
Filled with manipulation, power grabs, and dysfunction.
I got a hot take for you. I think Ozark would have been better off with the Paul Rudd. I think Paul Rudd brings a bit more layers to a character like that.
I only seen the first 2 seasons, and I love Jason Bateman in that show, but
it just sounds better, right?
The idea of Paul Rudd in that type of role, I enjoy.
I think he's a little better actor.
Oh, really?
Than Bateman? Yeah, I think Paul Rudd's really good.
Better? I don't know. They're both their comedic acting chops. They're both great in different ways. Because Bateman's usually the straight man, but he plays that brilliantly.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I think Bateman's a tremendous straight man. Mm-hmm. And I really like him in Ozark. I don't think he's bad at all. But that's another role where I think the role is so good where I don't want to say like, I wish a better actor played Marty Byrde, because I think he is very good. But just an actor with a bit more versatility, and I think Paul Rudd is that.
And also, Michael Showalter, director of The Big Sick, will direct the series, and
nice.
Georgia Pritchett, who wrote Veep and Succession.
Ooh, good shows.
I haven't seen Succession yet, but I hear it's phenomenal, and Veep is absolutely hilarious. So,
Succession is going to be my next watch. I keep promising Nighthawk, one of our most loyal listeners, loyal. Like, you better not listen to anyone else.
My loyal subjects.
Yeah. I keep promising him that I'm going to watch Dark, and I keep putting it off. I'm going to. I need to. I need to sit down and watch it. I hear it's confusing, so I'm a little scared.
I want Will Ferrell in a smart comedy that's actually funny. Not for once, but it's been so long. I'm hopeful that it's something that they both really like and find to be good.
You know what's funny about Will Ferrell is that, you associate these comedic actors with comedies, and you kind of forget that they love film, and they love all the nerdy shit that we love as well. Huge fan of Dune, Will Ferrell. Yeah. He actually wanted to play the Baron in Villeneuve's adaptation, but Villeneuve said, no, you're terrible. Get out of here. I'm getting Stellan Skarsgård. So he tried. He wanted to go serious, but Star Wars series announced.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
It's a Star Wars series.
What? By who? Who announced this?
Star Wars.
The Council?
Yeah, I know. It's being developed by Leslie Headland. She does Netflix's Russian Doll.
I've heard good things about Russian Doll.
Never seen it, but yes, I think it has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's going to be, it says here hold on. It says here, described as a female-driven thriller with martial arts elements and set in an alternate timeline for the Star Wars universe.
Yes, I did hear this.
So
Alternate timeline.
I think they meant different.
Yeah, it's
like not the timeline of
right.
the films that are happening right now.
It's really not the shitty films that we've been releasing. We want to stress that.
Oh, come on.
Why? I want to be mean about Star Wars. Why can't I be mean? Everyone else could be mean. I can't be mean about Star Wars.
Do what you want. So
You've changed, man.
alternate timeline. I mean, different timeline. Is that maybe like from what Star Wars though? Because technically Mandalorian is, but that's after Empire.
Did you hear the news that Mandalorian Season 3 is already in pre-production?
What happened to Season 2?
They're
You
done.
Skipped it?
No, I think that Season 1 was so good. They're like, we can't even follow this up.
Yeah.
We're just going to do Season 3. Yeah, no, I guess it's done. Season 2.
Huh.
And it's coming out in the fall, right? I think that's when it's supposed to come out.
The martial arts elements. Is that? Can we assume it's not Jedi?
I hope they're Jedi.
I guess they're martial arts.
Once again, I love the Jedi.
I don't know. I guess you could describe the Jedi as martial artists in a way, right?
Oh, yeah, no, and they analyze their fighting styles all the time.
Mm-hmm. I think
So-
more hand-to-hand combat, though.
Okay, yeah. Some CQC, close
Yeah.
quarter combat.
Yeah, but I don't know. Disney Plus show, I guess this was to be expected. They're going to just release a ton of Star Wars content. They already have Mandalorian. The Diego Luna Cassian series is coming out.
Yes.
Obi-Wan, who knows?
Maybe?
Probably not.
No.
And we have this one, which, I don't know. We really don't know much about it, but
And it's funny with Star Wars, they're really focusing on the shows. So we were talking earlier about the studios not releasing movies. If Star Wars becomes a franchise that's exclusively on television, then everyone's dead. If Star Wars can't make it, then nobody can.
well, what timeline would you prefer? Like
I'd
far
like a-
future, far past, maybe prequel era?
I don't know. I think it doesn't matter. I think it should be nowhere near anything that we've seen, so it doesn't matter if it's in the past or in the future. Maybe set it in the same era as the Knights of Old Republic style movie that they want to do. They keep talking about this medieval Star Wars. I would like that. Maybe some crossover there between the movies and the TV shows. But I don't think the time matters. And once again, I'm not one of those people that, you need to expand the Star Wars universe. It feels too small. I'm like, dude, I just want to see the Jedi. We get 3 of them every 20 years,
Yeah.
and people complain that we have too much. So, my favorite era, they all suck. I mean, they don't suck. I like Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith, but they're probably the lesser of
I
the
would like a
trilogies.
prequel era live action.
Yeah, man. I
our
would
own-
love to see the council doing shit.
Our only
Wait, Yoda's supposed to be in that, right? It's the very early days of the Jedi or something like that.
the Knights of Old Republic.
Yeah, I think it's not going to be Knights of the Old Republic, but Yoda.
Oh, the High Republic.
Remember, Yoda's going to be like 400. We talked about this on the
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking
The
about
High Republic, right.
talking about for this series.
Oh, I'd like this series to be set in the High Republic then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking like prequel because we have the Clone Wars as kind of a series that goes along with that time period. But
Yes.
I don't know, just that era with the Jedi. Maybe the Jedi aren't a prominent role in this series, but they're like their presence is felt throughout what's going on in this series. Like, oh, can't do that. The Jedi might get us. I don't know. I'm not a good. That's why I'm not a showrunner. But
Got more of a chance of winning the Powerball than running into him.
yeah,
Name the movie.
I don't know.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well-
it's like people committing petty crimes. And they're like, I don't know, man, not tonight. The Jedi are out there. It's like, dude, they patrol like 3 planets out of the billions of known planets. All of a sudden, vroom, chopped.
You know who I would love to see direct the Star Wars trilogy?
Shut the fuck up.
James Cameron.
James Cameron, yeah. He's a good... No, I'd go with Villeneuve.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the one guy that Star Wars fans... I hope he never does. He seemed like he was a bit interested. You know what I recently rewatched? Polytechnique. You ever see that? It's free on Amazon Prime.
That was his second film
Yes.
before Incendies.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Intense.
Yeah,
Intense, but it is stunning.
I watched Incendies
Compositions
last
are
week.
beautiful.
That's
Ah,
a fucking.
That's another intense movie.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, I think that might be a 10 out of 10.
Polytechnique?
No, Incendies. Polytechnique I gave an 8.5. But still, I mean, it's Villeneuve, you know? An 8.5 Villeneuve.
Incendies is very good. Yeah, I mean, all of his films
I think
really
Sicario might be a 10 as well. Let's go to fan questions here.
That's for the fan to decide.
Yay!
People you call up to the show, you better be ready. That's what you're supposed to do. Sitting there arguing and you're trying to spell your name and all of this other stuff. It's not your show, it's my show. I'm giving you the opportunity to speak your mind. Don't call up here unless you got something to say.
First one from Amy. What's up, Amy, at Book Sheet Geeks, frequent listener. You have to choose between SpongeBob seasons 1 through 3 or Courage the Cowardly Dog as the only TV show you can watch for the rest of your life. Which one would you choose? I'm going Courage. I'm going Courage because Courage is so goddamn freaky, and every episode is a nightmare. And maybe I just want to experience nightmares for the rest of my life. That's fun to me.
SpongeBob,
You can't go wrong here.
the first 3 seasons are so goddamn funny.
Comedic gold. It truly is, and it's not nostalgia.
No, it's legit funny.
No, it's funny. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Those people were all on drugs, writing kids' cartoons.
My favorite ever, and I saw it like a year ago, and like for the first time in a while, and I couldn't fucking breathe. When they're kind of like playing house, and Patrick comes home after a long night.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so he goes to Patrick's job. No, yeah, he comes home.
Yeah.
He's supposed to come home at 6, change the diapers. He comes home at midnight. So SpongeBob freaks out on him, and he goes back to work. And it's just him inside the Rock watching TV. And he's got the briefcase of donuts.
No, he comes in, he's like, so this is the thanks I get for working overtime.
It's amazing, dude, because he throws the donuts on him, and the writing was just so perfect. 6 o'clock. Me and Teddy always say that, dude. Whenever he leaves for like a podcast, when he leaves my house, we'll be 6 o'clock. He'll be like 6 o'clock.
I like too when they're doing like the Olympics and he dives into the oil and it gets on all the fish and they turn into fish sticks.
Fish sticks, get your fresh fish sticks here. This question here from Levy Mata _ parentheses Pandemonium 67. Would you ever consider watching the Clone Wars? Well, I have. I've watched the full thing years ago, and I also watched it as a kid because my dad used to love it. My dad was a huge Star Wars fan. And like I said, there are some episodes that are great, some of the best storytelling that Star Wars has ever done. The father, the son, that whole arc with Anakin and Obi. And everything with Darth Maul is great. Everything with Death Watch is great with Mandalore. I haven't watched the new season, but it's just so hard for me to sit down and watch it consistently because of the filler and the fluff.
Well, I think for me, I've seen all the best clips and most important clips online.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this looks awesome. I got to start watching. Then you start watching and you realize, that's not the whole show, is it?
No. It's a lot of puffer pigs.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what they're called.
I mean, I know the story. I've like watched millions of like Star Wars explained and Ahsoka Tano explained type videos that, like I said, are taken from the series when, like that whole dynamic with her and Anakin when he's turning to the dark side and stuff like that. I've seen the Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan, so
right.
I get the gist.
This question here from Teddy at Teddy Nerd Soup. Where the hell has Teddy been? Working?
I don't know. Where have you been?
Being a Teddy? Yeah, I don't know. Call us. Are you all right? You got a new dog, actually.
He did.
Kind of stole my thunder. I was the dog guy, but
Yeah, well, Teddy hops on PlayStation for like an hour.
fiance, dog.
The only interaction
job.
I've had with him was on PlayStation for like an hour every 2 days, and most of the time his mic is muted,
Yeah, most of the time it's just him mumbling about MLB.
or he's cutting out because his Wi-Fi connection is terrible.
Well, he connects to the Wendy's down the block. That's why.
I thought it was Kmart.
No, well, it might be now. Yeah, I think the Wendy's closed down. This question here from Adelaide at Probs Adelaide. What are some standout films you've watched for the first time during quarantine? Standout films for the first time. Interesting question there, Adelaide.
I don't know if I've watched anything new.
Yeah, I think recently I've kind of been watching stuff that I've already seen.
Yeah, I'm doing this on Instagram too. Throw me a follow at NerdSoup I'm kind of going back and watching all of my movies, I think 10 out of 10s, and I'm posting them. So I've done that. I'm only 2 movies down, but it's The Favorite and Pan's Labyrinth so far. Pan's Labyrinth, I will always cry at the end of that movie.
That is the definition of a masterpiece.
It truly is. It's so goddamn good.
It's the best movie out of the bunch that they've made, those three. I think he's still got the best movie.
Out of the... Yeah.
And it's funny because then I think it alternates between Karan and Inarritu for a couple until you get back to Guillermo. But I think it won the Oscar for Best Foreign Film, right?
It didn't.
It didn't?
Nope.
Wow.
It won for cinematography. I think it won 3 altogether, but it didn't win for Best Foreign Film.
Shout out to Miss Berry, my film study teacher in high school, showed us that movie.
Yeah?
She showed us a couple good ones. L.A. Confidential.
Were you like, subtitles?
No, I wasn't. I think that was actually the first one we watched. Mm-hmm. So, and that was the first movie where I remember she asked us at the end, she was like, now, do you guys remember reading the subtitles? And a lot of us were like, wow, yeah, you kind of forget about them.
Oh, no, it's amazing. I've noticed the same thing yesterday. I wasn't even reading anymore.
Yeah.
Either I learned how to speak Spanish or it just disappears.
You ever see The Cabin in the Woods?
No, I haven't.
That is a very, very good horror movie.
I have plenty of movies that I haven't watched that I really should get a move on, but down side of streaming services is I find myself searching and not wanting to commit to something to click on.
Yeah.
If I flipped, this is pro cable again, if I turned on FX and saw a movie that I wanted to see was playing, I would watch it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And with shows too, because you feel so overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. It's somebody was tweeting the other day about how Hulu is kind of becoming Criterion 2.0.
Hulu's awesome. They have
a lot of good foreign films.
Parasite. They had The Favorite, but it wasn't. You had to have Cinemax. So I just put in my Blu-ray in.
Well, look at that. It's a good thing, right, to have a Blu-ray?
Yeah, I always do that. I'll watch something on TV or Netflix that I have.
Oh yeah, me too.
On Blu-ray.
Well, like I told somebody the other day that I already own Parasite on Blu-ray, but I'm buying the Criterion. Sorry,
I'll watch. Yeah, it's on Hulu too, so I'll just watch it on that.
I watched an early Bergman movie, a comedy I liked it. It was funny, it was enjoyable, but the plot was, even for today, people would say this is just so wacky. It's about a gynecologist who's cheating on his wife, so then she starts cheating on him, and then they go into the past and they learn that initially the gynecologist had stolen his wife from this guy anyway, the guy that she's cheating on her husband with now. It was so insane. It was a comedy. It was actually really funny.
Okay. Portrait of a Lady on Fire. That's on Hulu too. That's a movie that I've wanted to watch for so long.
Holy shit. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I might have to watch that tonight.
Yeah.
I may have to watch that right now.
I'll
I'm
finish
embarrassed.
This podcast. Question here from my
mom.
Yeah.
You coming for dinner?
Not now, Ma. It's quarantine.
This question here from Owen at Oven Hut. When's the last time you saw a Chevrolet in Tokyo? Good question. Good fucking question, Owen. This question here from Quentin M. Ooh. Will the Jets win a Super Bowl before The Winds of Winter comes out?
Hopefully, because that would make George, a Jet fan, happy, and he won't have to.
Hopefully not.
Focus all of his time worrying about the Jets, like I know he does, or watching games on Sundays because they already won. He can move on to Winds of Winter. So we should all be Jet fans out there.
If they win a Super Bowl before the book comes out, that means the book's never coming out. I'm just saying. I'm just being realistic. All right, this question here from Nice and NATO. They got a couple years. They're rebuilding at Nice Meister.
Best for 20 years.
Best director and music composer duo. I'd personally say, oh boy, Nolan and Hans Zimmer. They are a consistent duo though together.
This is cheating, but George Lucas and John Williams.
Well, maybe Spielberg and Williams.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't name the composer. Only 2 films of Spielberg's haven't been composed by John Williams. Do you know them?
Yes. It is Schindler's List and...
Wrong.
Schindler's List and Ready Player One.
I think it is Ready Player One.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the other one's The Color Purple.
Yeah.
Quincy Jones.
I thought it would have been funny, that kind of dichotomy between those 2 films. To be the only ones.
We're like, we can't get John Williams to do these. He just doesn't have it in him. I like the budding collaborations between Paul Thomas Anderson, not budding, I mean they've been doing it for a couple films now, and Johnny Greenwood. His score for There Will Be Blood, I love those violins, and I thought his Phantom Thread score was also great.
You know who should really team up with a great composer, like one of the classics? Villeneuve. I think if he stuck with a guy and just did it throughout his whole career.
Dijawadi?
Yeah. Oh, that would be fucking fantastic. I don't know. I was just trying to get Villeneuve. I was trying to bring back the bit that we were doing for the
Tim Burton.
topics.
Tim Burton, Danny Elfman. Right, yeah. No, you got it. Hitchcock and Herman, of course.
Who did Bergman's films? Did he have a guy for all 3,000 of his, or?
I truly don't know. I know his big collaborator was his cinematographer, Nikovist.
Okay.
That's also an interesting question, too. Kind of best director-cinematographer duo. I mean, Spielberg and his guy have been together forever. And Nolan works with Wally Pfister a lot, who I really like.
I mean, Deakins and Villeneuve, I hope they make every movie together. I'm still not over that he's not doing Dune.
Yeah, no, but it looks good. But, yeah, he may have had other... Villeneuve, like, when somebody said you don't like Villeneuve, you like Deakins, all of his films look great. Like, Polytechnique. Not a movie that you would think would look that pretty. I mean, it's a disturbing movie, and it's gorgeous to look at. This question here from Kane at Kane the Stranger. Kane the Stranger. Are you still subscribed to the simulation theory for Westworld? Also, have you tried the Final Fantasy VII remake on PS4? My cousin Cam has been playing it nonstop, and he won't shut up about it.
Yeah, he beat it once, and then
he's trying to beat it again on hard mode.
Yeah. He was on like a boss for... Was that this game, or the
yeah, no, that was
the
this
other
game.
ones?
Yeah. He'd make us wait in 2K so he can fight a boss. Simulation theory in Westworld. It's one of those things where it's still a possibility. I think that there's a way that they can sneak it in there, because now they have the aspect ratio changes, and they're like, this is a simulation, this is reality. But they might find a way. There may be something that we're not picking up on yet.
With Westworld, I never fully subscribed to...
If you're keeping in my inevitable, you better keep that in. That's for the edits.
With Westworld, I never really truly subscribed to an idea or theory. I kind of like to throw a lot of things out there and just kind of think of all different possible scenarios. And maybe I lean towards it not being, because I think that would be just a better story or what I prefer. But at the end of the day, it's a show where you really never know which route they're going to go, or introduce something that makes you look back and go, oh, okay, now that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like to have fun with it, have all these possibilities, and kind of just wait and see what they give us.
I have a couple funny questions here. This one here from Josh at J__D. Compare directors to NBA players. For example, I think Francis Ford Coppola is the Kawhi Leonard of Hollywood. Dude sits out half the time, but when the spotlight's on him, he comes out to play. You know he's going to ball out. I like this question.
Yeah.
I would say like a Spielberg would be Jordan.
I was going to say Russell Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook?
Really good, but just chucks.
He does, yeah. No, he makes a lot of fucking movies. That's a good point. He might be more Kareem. Kareem's got the all-time scoring record. He played forever. Mm-hmm. And he's also in the GOAT conversation. Current NBA players, like, who's the LeBron of directors right now? I would say Nolan. Because he's had great successes, but he has a lot of detractors as well. Mm-hmm. A lot of the article that I was reading about Villeneuve kind of focused on Nolan. Mm-hmm. Nolan gets a lot of the, film bros love him. He's being hyped up by all the dudes.
The ladies love Villeneuve too. And we got called out because we say it's Villeneuve and we say Villeneuve. It's just, I'm
just going to call him Denny.
That's how it's going to be. But that's a good one.
The directors with the strong fan bases.
Who would be like a...
Paul Thomas Anderson's kind of like a Duncan. You don't hear much from him, but he's an all-time great. He's always pumping out great performances.
I'm trying to figure out like the
who's like the J.R.
dead eye
Smith
3-point shooter. Like, how do I equate that to directing?
Oh, it's like the automatic. This movie's always going to be like this. Mm-hmm. That's the dead eye 3-point shooter. The 3-and-D.
What would be the Russos? What's a blockbuster equivalent? Just someone who fucking puts on a show.
The Russos are the fucking Splash Brothers. Are you kidding me? They're Curry and Clay.
Might not be the best, but they put on a fucking show.
Yeah, they're getting you 73 wins in the regular season. They might lose the chip, but
this is fun.
Wow, I'm having fun with this. I'm trying to think of the most controversial NBA player currently.
Melo?
Who's a Melo?
I think everyone just
Mel
loves
Gibson.
Melo.
No, now people love Melo because they kind of feel bad that he got
blackballed
from the NBA. Who's the J.R. Smith of directors? Josh Trank, because he trashed his trailer during the Fantastic Four shooting.
Michael Bay. I mean, it's you can have a lot of fun watching J.R. play, but it's not pretty.
Right. I'm trying to think of the Michael Bay equivalent where he gets paid a lot, he's very famous, but he just doesn't deserve it. Doesn't deserve it. This question here from Homero at Homero_. Did you file for unemployment? No.
That's personal.
You want me to fire you? This question here from Benjamin at Captain Guap. All right. Comic book character Mount Rushmore. Great name, great question. I always say the Mount Rushmore.
Movie equivalents or just comics and comics?
No, I think just the character. Yeah, no, I think you could, everything included.
Okay.
Who are the Mount Rushmore of comic book characters? Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Joker.
Oh, wow. I was going to go Captain America, Wonder Woman. I don't know. It's tough. That really is a good one. I think the locks are Batman and Spider-Man.
Yes.
And Superman. Yeah, Superman is...
Yeah, fourth it's...
Because Spider-Man's the most
Woman.
Popular Marvel character.
And he's probably the most popular altogether.
Really?
Yeah, when you factor in merchandising, his merchandising is bigger than most of the other characters, even the Batman.
Yeah, it's tough. I think those are the three, and then you can kind of interchange for. Joker's an interesting pick. I think...
he's huge.
Yes.
Heath Ledger, Joaquin
Billy on his
Phoenix. Yeah, he's been there since the beginning of the Batman comics. He's getting his own movies. He's the one villain where you think Batman, the next thing you're thinking of, it's not Batman and Robin anymore. It's Batman and Joker. This question here, got another one. Crispy Chris at Chris Crandall 1. Greatest football player to ever play? Tom Brady.
It's so hard with football, though, because they're playing the same game, but not in the same way basketball and baseball players are playing the same game.
Yeah, no, it is. That always freaks me out that you're playing a defense. It's head-to-head, team versus team, but you're only playing half of the team.
But the positions are such... I mean, obviously there are different positions in other sports, but it's the differences in... Like, everyone in basketball shoots, dribbles, passes, rebounds. Everyone in baseball hits fields, except for the DH. But
right,
you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like
football, best pitcher, you separated best pitcher, best batter.
Yeah. But football, it's receiver and quarterback, same side of the ball, vastly different positions.
Yeah. You have different positions all over the place. And then even with receivers, you have receivers who do different things, tight ends who do different things.
But I guess you have to break it down. Most important on offense versus most important on defense. It's quarterback, edge rusher. People say defensive player Lawrence Taylor, offensive, it's Tom Brady. It's the Tom Brady's.
If he wins a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, I don't want anyone to ever argue it ever again. I don't want to hear it.
Well, a lot of people say Jim Brown because the running back position was the prominent piece back then, and he was just that much better than everybody else. Jim Brown also played lacrosse at Syracuse. Donovan McNabb played basketball at Syracuse.
Yeah. And Antonio Gates used to play basketball. When he retired, that was all over Twitter. So you know Antonio Gates used to play basketball?
Well, it's the Hogan played lacrosse.
Yeah, right. This question here from Jalen Falcon at Millennial Falcon with a K. What is a sentence that has never been said before? That was a good point, Aaron.
Oh, that's
See, yeah.
I was taking it literal. Like
a combination of words that has never been spoken.
Yeah.
You know when you were young and you would ask your parents a dumb question? I once asked my mom, would poets ever run out of words to rhyme? And she said, no.
How'd she know that? That's a good question.
That's it. For the last 10 years, they've been saying we're going to run out of words to rhyme and oil. So
that's deep.
We still got oil, right? Yeah. I was a smart little kid.
Yeah. That's probably something, first time that's ever been said. You can wrap it up.
Okay. Yeah, one more question here. From December 23rd, I always got to take it if it's a My Hero question. At Swaggy B23, who's your favorite My Hero character? All Might, Young Midoriya. Oh, just one more here. From Joseph, can't read the last name. Get the fuck out of my...
Well, I see the toy you have, and I read the name.
Is George Clooney a great actor?
I think George doesn't have to be.
I think he hasn't been making... No, he's George fucking Clooney. Yeah. You seen his wife? You seen him?
Yeah.
Dude's rocking the salt and pepper. No, he's very good. He's fantastic in Burn After Reading. And he's just a great leading man. And I think I feel bad for Jason Bateman. I keep casting different people. I feel like a George Clooney would have been better as a Marty Bird. Even now.
Too old.
No, you can young him up.
He's just a movie star.
He's good looking enough where he can have kids that age.
Because it's like,
yeah, no, he is.
When
He is
you
a
hear
movie
like
star.
Tom Cruise, great actor isn't the first thing that comes to your minds. Oscar caliber, even though he has been Born on the 4th of July, Jerry Maguire. It's just your mind goes like Mission Impossible.
And our next guest, Tom Cruise.
But it's just Tom Cruise. You just think movie star. That's your first thought. So and I think George Clooney is kind of in that same.
Well, my first thought is Scientology, and then it's Oprah interview, and then it's movie star. Yes, they always call him that. He's the last traditional movie star. But Clooney is kind of like Humphrey Bogart, in the sense of he's like a classic Hollywood leading man.
Yeah, he's like a 40s type. He can put Clooney in the 40s, and that's like
Hail Caesar. I thought he was perfect.
Yeah.
As the big star, and that's kind of, I don't know. Was that the last movie he acted in? Look that up.
He was in no, he directed that Matt Damon movie Suburbia. Let's see, George Clooney.
That was his last movie, Hail Caesar. First movie ever reviewed on this channel. Oh, Money Monster.
Yeah, the Nespresso, the Danny DeVito commercials.
Yeah, I do love those.
They have not one, not two, but
Well, it sounded like you were gonna make a.
They just keep coming.
I heard 8.
There's more. No, there's more. 13
didn't make this many commercials.
13 espresso shorts. Do you know when the first one was? You'll never guess this.
2008.
2006. No way these commercials have been out for 14 years.
Yeah, no, that was a remake. The recent ones.
Holy shit.
I had no idea.
That's probably his best work, to be honest.
Who, DeVito or Clooney? You ever see Michael Clayton?
I was going to say both, but nothing will top Frank Reynolds.
This question here, I'm going to take one more from Shinrit at, once again, these ads are crazy. Favorite Wu-Tang member? Wu-Tang.
ODB.
The Genius, boy. They're all so good. I don't know. Ghostface or the Genius.
Who's the best? Ghostface?
It's so tough with them, maybe. Or the Genius.
Well, RZA. I mean, he's kind of...
RZA, great producer. He got his ass cooked by DJ Premier in that battle. You can't fuck with Primo. I mean, RZA, legendary, all-time great beats. Can't fuck with Primo when he brings on those loops. When he brings on Kick in the Door. Ooh.
Well, Method Man, too.
Yeah, love Method Man.
What a great group.
They're a great group of guys.
We need a group like that again. Odd Future, but that was
Griselda,
like
dude.
2 years.
These new dudes from Buffalo. They're not as deep, but I think that's it. They're kind of what the Locks should have been. I mean, the Locks are great. I love a lot of their tracks, but the production was always kind of subpar. They've got in-house producers at Griselda that it's just hard loops and piano keys and fucking bars about trapping. That's all it is. And it's so good.
What about the Roots?
Love the Roots.
It's a good group, too.
Yeah, Black Thought, top 5. I put him in my top 5 the other day. I had such a clean top 10 rappers the other day that I recited off the top of my head. I'll never be able to remember it because it's always changing. But the top 5 was Jay-Z, Black Thought, KRS, Eminem, and MF Doom.
Well, you had the Andre 3000 versus Nas.
Yeah, but same party chat. We were just came into my head. I was like, that's tough because they were battling for like my 8 and 9 position.
I don't know.
I think Andre's a better rapper and a better artist.
He's not as... I don't think he's as consistent in terms of just releasing. I mean...
Well, yeah.
I don't know if that's a hot take or not.
No, it's been like 14 years, dude.
But, I don't know. I mean, Illmatic, probably the best work out of all those, but I think pound for pound, 3 Stacks. And,
and you also have to credit Big Boy because it is a duo.
Mm-hmm.
And the producers that they were working with. But me and Teddy were talking about that the other day. You know, what's your favorite Outkast? He went with Stank On Ya. And I went with Aquemini.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Although, like...
They're both great, though. I mean, all of their albums are really good. They've got a great discography.
Remember when Hey Ya just...
I still say it's the best song of the 21st century.
That song.
It is so It's
Were we 10? That song was
2004. Yeah, 11.
Easily the biggest song of that year, and I can remember.
And
That song was everywhere.
It's just genreless.
It
too.
had mass appeal to everybody.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's
it
why
was-
so many people know Outkast from that song, but they don't
even
know
that,
that they
was
were.
it The Love Below and Speaker Box?
Yeah,
that
yeah,
album?
that was when they split it. When they split it between them, where
And
Big
they-
Boy did half.
Yeah.
I Like the Way You Move.
I Like the Way You Move. They did the Roses.
That's early stuff though.
Yeah.
Roses, I think that's on Stank On Ya.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, you like to think your shit don't stink. All right, guys, that's the end of the podcast here before we get into a whole nostalgia tour. Hey, guys, thank you for watching this video. And, of course, we would like to thank our Patreon supporters. Without you guys, Nerd Soup wouldn't be Nerd Soup. Seriously, your support is what keeps the fridge full, so thank you once again for your support. If you are interested in supporting Nerd Soup through Patreon, visit our page and check out the different rewards we offer to our fans. If not, then no problem. We appreciate anyone who takes time from their day to watch our videos. So thank you to each and every one of you out there watching, and remember to like and share this video. And hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like it. Or don't.